It's Friday, and you know what that means. It's time to chat. I'm Madi with Madi Sews, and welcome back. You all, I can't tell you how much I really do enjoy these Friday Sews chats with you guys, where I get to tell you about stuff that I've been doing for the week, things that are coming up that are exciting, or maybe even not so exciting, and just kind of other things that are on my mind as I'm kind of navigating through this whole sewing world. And I really have to let you know that Friday Sews was started by Jen's over at Today in Jen's Sewing Room. And man, I'm so grateful that she actually had this idea because it's been so much fun. Well, with all of that being said, I guess let's just get into the stuff that I've been working on this week. I have actually cut out all of the pattern pieces for my tempo tights that I'm going to be making. Now, I don't know if you all remember, but I had bought a bunch of fabric from Spandex World a while ago. It's actually the place I go first when I look for fabric because I like their prices. And I think the quality's really good. Well, I picked up a panel of this and it had these really cool floral stripes going down the side. So this is going to be on the side of my leg. This part right here is going to wrap around to the inside of the knee. So you'll see that on the side. And then I'm going to pair it with this green stuff. This is actually the front waistband. But I'm really liking how that's going to come together, and I'm really excited about it. Making athletic tights can be a little strange because, you have to grade in between all the different sizes. Are you doing it right? Are you doing it in the right place? Are you giving yourself enough space, or are you going to end up with some baggy tights? These are all things that kind of go through my head anyways. But I think what's actually helping me kind of like keep all of the self-doubt at bay is the fact that the tempo tights are based off of the same block as the stride tights. And so that makes me feel really good because I've actually managed to get a really good fit on the stride tights. So if I follow kind of like the same methods and things like that, I'm thinking I'm gonna end up with a pretty decent fit. Crossing my fingers. But I mean, if not, I am planning on doing a second pair of tights this weekend. And I'm actually hoping to do it with the yellow and the green to do some color blocking with that, as well as a sports bra, probably using the majority of this type of floral. I'm going to try to use up the rest of it so that way I have a nice coordinating set. Those are some of the plans that I have for this weekend. And actually, another thing that I have on my plan that I wasn't quite anticipating are face masks. My husband recently delivered a whole bunch of fabric and requested some face masks. So the really interesting part of this is that he went online and purchased the fabric himself. So he was on all the different Etsy shops and he brought this fabric to me. And I really think that they're fun. I mean, there's Mario Brothers. Look, in my house, Mario Brothers is a big deal. My toddler's gotten actually pretty good at playing the games, and there are actually times when we're all just playing it on the TV, and it is a blast. I never thought a 3-year-old could be, one, so good at playing Super Mario, but two, have like really funny commentary. So I'm gonna breeze through these because he actually picked up quite a bit of different fabrics. So there's a Super Mario, Spider-Man, that's gonna be a fun one, a Baby Yoda, the Child, Grogu, however you want to call him. I think this is going to be great family masks. We have Zelda, can't leave out that one. Star Wars, you can't have the child without having Yoda, right? Wonder Woman, and I'm pretty sure that this one is Animal Crossing. When he got his package, he actually had a whole bunch of samples that were included. So, I mean, there's more Super Mario, more Spider-Man, more Star Wars. I mean, there are probably like 8 samples in here. And I'm sure that I'll be able to make a couple of masks from all of this stuff too. That was really nice of them to include. If I happen to get the information from my husband on which Etsy shop he bought all of this from, I'll be sure to put it in the description box below. So that way you can check them out too in case you want your own Grogu mask. The reason why I'm actually moving these masks up higher on my sewing list is because we're planning on going back to Florida in a couple of weeks. So after my conference concludes, we're going to be heading to Florida for a good amount of time. And so if we're going to be in Florida, I think it's really important that we just have the masks ready to go. I can always make more after we get there. My mother-in-law has a beautiful sewing studio with the best view ever. She's over on the Gulf Coast. So, I mean, I'm not too pressed about getting them all done, but I am going to get a couple done so that way we can make our way down there. Maryland to Florida is quite a drive. Now that I'm actually sitting here thinking about the drive to Florida, one of the things that we actually like to do is listen to audiobooks while we're on the road. And that's actually something that I realize I've been doing a lot in my sewing studio too. I mean, I really do love the sewing books. I love the magazines, but sometimes I just need to be able to listen to something while I'm working. So that way I don't need to stop and actually look at something or the TV or the picture. I can just listen to it. The audiobook that I've been listening to lately is Children of Blood and Bone. It's Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I believe that's how you pronounce the name. But it's actually a really good one. It's a fiction book, so if you're into fiction, I would highly recommend this. It's about spirituality, religions, oppression, magic. It's really good. And there's a second book in the series as well. So I'll make sure that I give you all that information as well because it is so good. I'm actually listening to it now for the 4th time. And you know, while I was getting ready to hang out with you all, I had so many things going through my head. And one of them is that it seems like lately I've had a couple of people actually reach out and let me know that they're starting their own sewing channel. And let me tell you, there is nothing better than sewing friends. I mean, they get you, right? They understand your hoarding tendencies. They don't judge your fabric stash unless it's really too small. I mean, and come on, sewing friends understand when you say things like, oh, you have to stitch in the ditch. So, I'm actually really looking forward to watching their videos and seeing the creative content that they come out with because both of the people that I'm thinking of in particular are highly skilled sewists. So I know that they're going to bring it. But I guess I digressed a little bit. What I actually wanted to talk to you guys about was like, how do you choose a name for your sewing channel? You all, I am not kidding you when I tell you that I spent weeks just kind of thinking about different sewing names for my channel before I landed on Mari Sews. And now you might be saying, well, that's really original, Mari. You're right, okay? But let me just explain to you what went through my head, like this thought process. So I remember my first thought being, well, I want something that, ties in my sewing with the sea and the sun. And I know you might be thinking that's really weird, but my name is Marisol, and in Spanish, that means sea and sun. And so I thought, well, how cool is that? Like I have to find something to be able to pull it all in. So I actually made this logo with the thread spool and the sun going into the waves of the sea. And I just thought it was perfect. So I wanted to stick with something along that line. And then it dawned on me. Mari Sews sounds a lot like Marisol. I felt like I was the most clever person in the world. I was like, oh yeah, that's really good. Marisol, Marisol. Ooh, Marisol, 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 Marisol. So that's what I went with. I put the name on my logo. I, had that logo size for my YouTube banner. I mean, all of that good stuff. And then I started creating content, and then I realized there's a Sharon Sews, there's a Melly Sews, there's probably a Mary, Karen, Jackie, everybody sews, right? I guess it wasn't so original after all. But maybe the creative process that got me there was. So there, that's a story of how we're sitting here hanging out on my channel called Mari Sews. You all, I almost forgot to mention this, but because I have this conference coming up, it's actually taking up a whole lot of time, and I've been working late into the night. So that means that it's cutting into my sewing time and my filming, editing, all of that stuff. And then right after that, I'm going to be traveling to Florida. Now, I'm going to be taking a couple of my machines with me, but still, that means that there's going to be like this kind of weird transition time for me, which means that I may not be posting videos as often as I have been. So I'm going to apologize right now if you guys don't see me 3 times a week. I hope that that's not going to be the case, but fair warning. So that's everything that's been going on in my neck of the woods over here. You saw the fabric that I cut out for my tights. I'm actually planning on finishing my fit capsule this weekend so that I can turn my attention to these masks and the conference. And then after that, it's going to be game on. Well, thank you so much for hanging with me. And by the way, if you have an audiobook that you really like, please drop it in the comments below because we're going to need some new content for this drive and for upcoming sewing. Otherwise, if you had fun hanging out, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and click that bell so that way you know the next time that there's a new video. And really, until next time, I hope that you find joy and have a wonderful day.